What's up guys, Lee Martin here and I'm pumped up for week 9 and hope to improve upon my 3-2 record last week. But one thing's for sure, my platinum picks have been solid gold so far because we are 3-0 in our best bet selections. Okay, let's get to the first of 5 and travel to Buffalo where the Bills will host the Redskins. Now, you don't need to be a hardcore fan to know that the Redskins have issues, and betting good money on bad teams is never a recipe for success. But the thing here is that the odds makers are begging for anyone to bet Washington, and the number in this game speaks for itself. Right now the Skins are betting 10 at bookmaker, and that seems like an awful lot of points against a team that has a tough time scoring like the Bills. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that Case Keenum gets the start for Washington after getting his lights turned out last week against the Vikings. The Redskins score very little, but the Bills don't score a whole lot. This will be a defensive struggle because the offenses are so bad, and that sounds like a good opportunity to grab a dime with the Skins. Now let's take a peek into the Titans-Panthers matchup in our second pick of the week. The last thing most people will remember about the Panthers is that they were swallowed up by the 49ers last week in a 51-13 loss. Meanwhile, their opponents this week, the Tennessee Titans, are feeling large and in charge after beating the Chargers 2 weeks ago and then the Bucs last week. One team looked terrible last week while the other got the win and the cover. But this week, things are going to change for both teams as the Panthers look poised to notch a win and cover over the Titans, a team that has a banged up offensive line and one that will see plenty of leaks that the Panthers will exploit. Oh, and let's not forget that the Panthers were averaging north of 31 points per game over their 4-game winning streak before their loss to the best team in the NFC last week. Lay the 4 at Heritage and back the Cats. Alright guys, in our third pick we see a battle between two miserable teams and divisional rivals, the Jets and the Dolphins. Is there a way that they both can lose? But look, there's one difference between these teams. Miami wants to lose because they've got their eyes set squarely on that number 1 draft pick in April. But there's another factor at work here, and that's Le'Veon Bell. This will be the game that Bell finally breaks out against a terrible Dolphins run-stop unit and reminds Jet fans why their team paid him all that money in the offseason. Expect a slow, comfortable grind in this game with the Jets winning by a touchdown or more. Lay the 3 at bookmaker and bet the Jets. Now we move on to Seattle for our 4th pick of the week, where the Seahawks will host the Bucs in a game that should be a high-scoring affair. Let's not confuse this Seattle defense with the Legion of Boom from a few years ago. The Seahawks allow over 273 passing yards per game, and the one thing that Jameis Winston loves to do even more than turn the ball over is throw the ball. And he did just that when he hit Mike Evans for 2 touchdowns and 198 yards last week. But we have to be fair and recognize that the Bucs defense is pretty much a hot mess as well. But the big difference here is that Tampa Bay is getting 6.5 points at Bovada in a game that could come down to the wire as long as Winston keeps his cool and doesn't cough up the ball. I know that's a big if, but I'm taking the road here anyway and hope you do too. Alright, here we go putting our perfect 3-0 platinum pick of the week streak on the line. Cue the drum roll because we've got Aaron Rodgers on the road in LA to defeat the Chargers and cover the number, which right now sits at Packers -3 at BetOnline. Guys, right now is the best time to put your money behind this Packers offense. Rodgers is absolutely en fuego, and he's getting his top receiver from last week back when Davante Adams returns from a turf toe injury. Meanwhile, the Chargers fired their offensive coordinator last week, which means plenty of adjustments for Phillip Rivers and friends. This is not the time to be changing things up, despite how poorly LA's offense has been. Last week, the Bolts were our platinum pick of the week, but now they're a fast fade because the only loyalty I have in this game is making money. Lay the 3 on Green Bay at BetOnline right now, and you'll be cashing a ticket later. Well, there you have it, guys, my Fab 5 NFL picks for Week 9, and if you want a little more information on these selections, then check out my Fab 5 write-up on the SBR Picks page. Make sure to check out my Monday night video between the Cowboys and the Giants, and come on back next week for 5 more fabulous selections. I'm Lee Martin, and may all your wagers be winners.